Alright, so I think we're completely done with the rear harness. Alright, now we need to do the work on the front harness. Alright, so probably the next thing we'll do. Okay, so here's what's left. Alright, the control switch, the flasher relay that just plugs in. We took care of this already. Alright, and these are all the turn signals. So we're actually almost done. Alright, well we need the front brake switch. Alright, so we got to find that on the harness. It's somewhere here in the front. And I think the other guy that had this before wasn't using it. I think it's this one right here. Okay. It's a black red. All right. So if there's any black red combo on the harness, that's the only one. That's the only black red there are, besides the rear harness main power. Okay. So it's this one here. It's got to be this. All right. So we gotta actually mount it on the bike. Yeah, so we need to connect. Where is it? Okay, so for the brake switch, guys, right here. All right, I got the brake switch right here. What we're gonna do is I'm just gonna terminate them. Okay, so we're gonna add the same connectors that we used before. These guys. All right, I think we're gonna use. I think I'm gonna put this one. We'll make this one the male, and then we'll make the other one the female. Alright, the one on the harness. It's got to be this one. Alright, and I think there should be enough wire where we don't have to worry about that. Because I think all this stuff is going to be in the front of the bike. I hope. We'll find out when we run it, guys. Alright, and then we got to figure out what we're going to do with these turn signals here, man. Yeah. We'll figure it out, man. I don't really know how we're going to install them. But, yeah, so we're just going to terminate this just like this, alright? It's, there's no polarity or anything, so you just put it anyway. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is going to go to this one here, alright? So I'm going to cut this out. It looks like there's about 6 inches, alright? 6 inches of, cable. I think that much should be enough to get there, because this is pretty long. This is almost like a foot of cable. All right, this is going to be like here, right? It's going to go down here, and it's going to go down there. So it's actually perfect, the length. I hope. All right. So hopefully, when we put it on there, everything will be long enough. All right. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. I know. Best thing to do would be to just put it on there right now and see if they reach. So. But I think it should be fine. Alright, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Alright, so we're going to put this end like this, and then we're going to put this end on this. You know what? I might just use this. Use this wire right here. Plus it's already colored, so. And we'll just solder it onto this. Okay, so we'll take this, and we'll put it. Oh, wait, we're going to use this. This is going to be on, actually this is supposed to be on this guy. So that's what I might do. We'll put this on this, alright? And we'll get one of these guys, and we'll put it on this, okay? And then we'll, hopefully they'll reach each other, because I think this is going to be behind the headlight, this part right here. It's kind of has to be, right? But yeah, this is really long cable, man. This goes all the way here. Yeah, well, it's enough to reach the headlight, so I think it's just long enough. Alright, and then and then the next thing we have to do is extend these wires, I think. Alright, we need to extend these wires, and then we need to add bullet connectors to it. Alright, so yeah, when we get there, that'll be the last part, the headlight, alright? Well, the last part will be providing power from the harness, alright? Well, but Hazemag's getting there, alright? So we're going to work on the last brake switch, alright? And then we'll be done with the harness, and then we'll install it onto the bike already, okay? And then we'll figure out what we got to do with the headlight. All right. So the headlight is another can of worms, guys. So I'm not gonna lie. All right. Maybe before we do the headlight, we'll do the this. All right. We'll get the power from this. So we need 4 wires out of this guy. All right. And it looks like it's really long. I really only need it to be long enough to be in the airbox. So. And the airbox is just right here, so there's going to be just a shit ton of that wire just curling up in there. I don't like it, guys. Okay. But I could probably strip, so we'll probably strip a couple inches off of this jacket. Okay. And then we're gonna have to cover all the rest of the wires. All right. So I'm gonna go eat dinner now, and then we'll get onto the brake switch stuff. All right. I'll get a bunch of pictures of it, and then when it's done, you'll see you'll see the next clip. All right. Alright, he's making it here, and there it is, it's done. So I've got the brake switch here. Alright, it's got the male end on it, and I've got the female end right here on the harness. Alright, all I have to do is connect them together. There it is, Kerplamo. Alright, so hopefully there'll be enough room. Hopefully there'll be enough wire. Alright, so there's still this green and red wire. I don't know what these do, guys. It's not in the diagram at all. There's no red and green in the diagram anywhere. Okay. Maybe it goes to this. I don't know. Nope. What else do I got here? That's the headlight switch. And this is the hydraulic brake thingy. We don't have that, so. Okay, yeah, so we're done. I'm done with the harness, so I'm gonna go mount it on the bike. Alright. Yep, I'm gonna go mount it on the bike. Okay, so I've decided to run it from front to back, alright, because there's a lot more stuff in the front. Okay, the connectors are much bigger too. Alright, so I've got it through the fork already. Alright, and we're moving it through this first bracket. Alright. Alright. Yep. So. Okay, here's what I got so far. It's going through the fork, it's going through this bracket, and then it's going through this center kind of butthole here. Alright, and then it's going to go, so I'll have all this stuff zip tied to that. This is all the powertrain stuff. So all this light harness stuff is going to go on the left here under this tab right here, okay? And it pretty much just holds itself in. Alright, and then I've got it going this way, up over the throttle box, and right here, okay? So this is going to go in the air, this is definitely going to go in the air box, alright? Because this is our power, alright? And this has got to go in the air box. Alright, the rest of these can stay out here because they're going to connect to this stuff right here, okay? I'm going to go connect all this stuff in the back, and then, yeah, there's a lot of wire. It's actually too long. Think about, yeah, it's kind of too long. So there's going to be a lot of excess kind of wire, so we're going to have to clean stuff up, alright? So, alright. Okay, I got the whole rear mounted, alright? I've got the rear tail light, the turn signals all hooked in, and so the only thing I didn't use is the ground, because this already has a ground, alright? So the ground is coming from one of the black wires here. Okay, yeah, because it's sharing. The whole unit shares the ground. All right, so with everything, yeah, and then so the power wire is coming in here. Okay, you can see the fuse for it right here. So all I have to do is hook that up. All right, so here's the other side of the air box. You can see all the goods in there. Yeah, it's getting crowded, man. I'm gonna lie. All right, so this is going to be the power for the harness right here. Okay, we'll plug it in from here. All right, this is the thing that's got to go in there. All right, guys. All right, this is our 12 volts power right here. Okay, so we still have to thing it. And then I've got the rear brake. All right, rear brake is going up over the air box here. All right, I just barely got out of the air box, and then it connects to the switch right here. All right, I might want to, I don't know, I think it's fine right there, just like that. All right, yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine if I just hang it there. All right, yeah, the air box is getting pretty full. So it's going to be even more full when I put that 12 volt harness in. Okay, and then yeah, I zip tied it here, and I zip tied it here. All right, it goes up over here and here. All right, so now I got to go figure out this stuff with the front. All right, there's a lot of extra wire, so my guess is we're just gonna stuff it and hide it behind the headlight. Okay. All right. So this is going to connect to this. All right, but we need to make the wires. I need to make the wires for this. All right, I have to open this up a bit. And, look at that. That doesn't look so good right there. Put some tape over that. Okay. Oh yeah, it's kind of been pinched or something. Hopefully it still works. All right, looks like they tapped into something here. I'll put a zip tie around that so that don't come off. Okay. But yeah. So I think all I'll do tonight is I will. Oh, we need the flasher relay. Yeah, let me get that. Okay, I got our flasher relay here. All right, I'm gonna zip tie it to somewhere, maybe just a wire or something. I'll just let it hang for now. All right, so take it out of the bag. Okay, I got the flasher here. So that just goes in here. There we go. Okay, snap it together. All right, there it is. I'm gonna just let it hang for now. All right, and then I've got all the turn signals are already still hooked up on this thing. So, so you can see they. I didn't use this on the other side, but here we'll use it. Okay, this is the ground. Okay, or the negative. Right, and these are the two positives for each side. Okay, and then we got to figure out how to install these. So, and then I think that's it. There's just this brake switch, right? And there's the mystery wires right there, and then the control switch. All right, and then we're done. We're pretty much done. So let me go hook up the brake switch. All right, guys. So I got everything kind of hooked up. All right, I've got the brake switch in there. What I didn't realize is the brake switch is always on. It's like a always open brake switch. So I don't know how that's gonna work, guys. Because when this goes, when you pull the lever, the plunger goes out. It doesn't go in. So I just realized that. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. All right. But we'll see. If it doesn't work, we'll just unplug it. Alright, so yeah, let's get this thing started. So I plugged in that, this is that connector that used to be on for the tail light. It used to be the tail light connector, and we're going to use this to give power to the harness. As long as the colors match up, and they do, okay? Alright, so we're going to go test this bad boy. I have the turn signal thing hooked up so we can test the turn signals out. 12-volt battery here. Oh, it should be. Oh yeah, it's working. Okay. Okay, I got that hooked up. So the tail light is on. Right, it looks like the brake light's on, unfortunately. I think the brake light works opposite, unfortunately. So maybe we can only use the rear. Yeah. Oh yeah. It just died on us. What happened here? There, he blew the fuse. Yeah, it died when I pulled the brake lever. Let's disconnect that brake lever. Okay. Disconnected the brake lever. Okay, fuse blew. Alright, so let's, it worked until I pulled the brake lever, so maybe we just won't use the brake lever, man. I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, let me go get another fuse. Okay, I only have like a 10 amp fuse, dadgummit. Alright, so I'm gonna go turn the power off. I'm gonna stick the new fuse in. These glass fuses, man. I like them. That's why I wanted to install like a regular looking fuse, the blade ones. Okay, so let's try this again. So turn the power on. Alright, there we go. Light works. Alright, let's see if the turn signals work. Oh, there we go. There's our left turn signal. this one's not working. What's going on here? Okay, the left one works. Okay, the right one works. Okay, but the front ones don't work. What's the dealio? Why doesn't this work? Maybe these are not good. I don't know. So maybe I got some bad lights or something. We might have to test it. Take it off and test it. I have it hooked up right. I actually never even took it off the harness, so I don't know. But the rear works. Okay. And then so I have okay, so and then the brake. All right, so we still got the rear brake. So I'm going to step on the rear brake and hopefully it'll work, or it'll do one of two things. It'll blow the fuse and die, or or it'll work. Right? Oh, there we go. It works. Okay, so the rear works, but the front doesn't. All right, so I guess we're just kind of shit out of luck for the front, which kind of sucks because we use the I use the front brake more than the foot brake. That's what I say. So. That's fine. I just got to remember to tap the rear brake to make it look like I'm slowing down in traffic. Okay. Yeah. So there's no horn, right? So, and there's no headlight yet. All right. Oh. What happened? It blew. Again. Yeah, the light stopped. Okay, hold on. Let me go take a look at this again. Okay, never mind. The fuse is fine. It's I disconnected the negative. Okay, so there you go. Everything in the rear works. I don't know what's up with the front. Nothing works on the front apparently. Okay, but the flasher works. All right. There's the flasher. Okay, and the rear brake works. We're gonna have to figure out how to get the front brake working, man. That switch didn't work. Okay, works good. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day right there. All right, so the next thing to do is we need to go hook up the 12-volt harness, provide power to this thing. All right, with the bike's power and not the jumper pack's power. And then yeah, we'll be in business. All right, so yeah, so it should be on all the time. Yeah, we got to figure out what's wrong with these blinkers. Okay, and it's a shame that the brake thing didn't work, man. I'm not really sure how the brake works, man, because it's the opposite. So when you let go the brake, it's not hooked up now, right? Yeah. When you let go of the brake, it opens the connection. All right. So I don't know. We can try it one more time. Let's hook it back up. Yeah, it could be maybe this is the brake switch. I'm not 100%. I'm not really sure what this is. All right. This looks like it looks like it's another positive and negative connection. All right. So yeah. This might be the brake switch. All right, so one way to find out. Let me get another fuse. Okay, got another freaking fuse here. I blew it. Okay, let's run the power back on. Okay, we got power. Alright, I'm going to cross those green and red wires, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, here we go. Nothing. Nothing happens. Yeah, I don't know what that green wire does, but it's a mystery wire. Another thing I could do is I could check the voltage coming out of those two wires. If I could somehow do it without shorting it out. Oh yeah, I could use that little harness thing, but yeah, I'm gonna call it for tonight. All right, guys, but the rear lights work, all right, and all the stuff in the rear works. None of the stuff in the front works, unfortunately. Okay, but it's good that the flasher relay works. All right, and the rear tail lights work. All right, we got to figure out what's wrong with the front lights. Okay, so I think I'm gonna call it. That's it for tonight. All right, so this rear is totally done. We need to make a new. So the next thing to do to put make the 12-volt harness, right, and then make the headlights work. Okay, so the headlight is a totally different circuit. So yeah, okay. So we're going to do that, but it does work with this control switch though. Okay, so. All right. Hopefully there's not any weird stuff going on with this harness, but it looks like for the most part it looks good. Okay, so let me disconnect one of these and see if this light actually works, man. All right. For my last check, we'll see if this LED light works. Okay, so if I plug this in, I should get a light, and I don't. Okay, so I think these LED lights. Oh, it does work. The right one works. So there's something wrong with the front harness, man. It's not working, but yeah. So I was expecting this one to turn on, but the other one turned on. All right. So that one works. Okay. So we got to figure out why these lights aren't working in the front. All right. I think I'm gonna call it a night. All right. We'll tackle the front tomorrow. Alright, he's Mega here. So here we are troubleshooting the next day. So so what I found out is, yes, it's as I had thought, it's the ground is bad. Or the negative is bad. So if I have the test wire hooked up to the other negative, right, that's on the other side of the harness, and if I plug it into the negative here, the lights start working. Alright, I let go, it stops working. Okay, and then yeah, so these wires are getting power. See, test light works. I plug it into there. Right? This one is not on right now, so but I tested that one. That one works also. So these are getting power. This is not connected to something. All right, so there's a break in the wire somewhere. I know, maybe I should look at the harness. Maybe something happened. Maybe I didn't solder something right when I soldered to get the harness together, guys. So what might have to happen is I could run. This works. So if this works, I would just run a negative wire to the front here. That's what I'll do. I'll just put it alongside. We could do that, or when I run the headlight, I can use the negative from the headlight to give it power too. But I'd rather we just keep everything on this harness type of thing. So that's what I might do. All right, guys, I will get a black wire, and we'll probably just plug it into this. Is what we're going to do. We'll plug it into here, and then I'll run the wire all the way here. All right. I can inspect it. Also, what I found out, this green and red wire is the horn. Okay, so if I ever get a horn, I can use that for the horn. Okay, and it's still a mystery to me what's going on with the brake switch. Okay, so it should work. Speaking of the brake switch, is it this one here? What if I ground that out? Okay, guys, so this there's power going through this. I don't know. Maybe they modified this harness or something, so this would it would do that, all right, to power some kind of accessory. But like if I plug it into the red wire, it'll, hopefully I don't cross them. Where is it? There we go. See, I get power. So there's a 12 volts power going to the red. All right, I probed the negative, and it's a negative, so this is a live 12 volts right here. Okay, guys, so that's why this keeps on blowing. All right, what we could do, what I might be able to do, is put a maybe connect this to the the brake thingy on the rear and see if that works. Yeah, that's kind of weird. And then maybe what we could do is we could piggyback. I could piggyback the. I could tap into the other brake switch, and then plug it into here. Okay, that's one thing we could do. All right, I would have to splice into it. Is what we'd have to do. We have to splice into it, or what I could do is install one of these guys. All right, the double bullets. So yeah, there's that. I don't want to spend too much time on this, man. I'm supposed to finish it yesterday, man. But yeah, so that's what's got to happen. I don't know what's wrong with this. This doesn't work. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna run. I'm gonna run a bullet. Yeah, we'll run a bullet here. Yeah, let's just run a bullet connector here. We'll move it all the way up here, and then we'll terminate it with a double black like this, and then we'll plug the things into it. I don't know what the deal is. There must be some kind of break in the harness or something, but everything else works. So, and this is you know what? We might be able to use this. We might be able to use this black wire. I didn't think about that. We could do that because I think this is a black wire. I would let me do that. Let me see. Let me get the let me get a jumper. Okay, so I'm gonna plug this into the black here, and then we'll plug the black into here. Okay, I got the black plugged into here. I'm just gonna touch it onto the thing, and maybe the lights will work. Oh, there we go. All right, so there. I don't have to do that anymore. There's already a negative here that I know that works. So what we'll do is we'll you know what I might do is we'll cut this. We'll cut this and then splice it into this. All right, is what we'll do. All right, guys, and then this will just be some random 12 volts that's not connected to anything. Okay, if I want to connect this is something 12 volts, I could do that. All right, so I don't know, man, but yeah, this works. All right, so that's what I'll do. I will splice this. We'll splice this. We'll cut this and splice it into here. All right? I don't know what happened, man, to this. Something is wrong with this, so we'll just splice it into this here, all right? Because that actually worked, and that will keep me from having to run another wire from the back to the front, all right? Because there's already a wire right here, so all right, pretty simple, all right. And then yeah, it'll just be plugged in like that, and then we'll get it working. All right, so I've solved the problem. All right, for some reason this black wire is not getting connected to the black wire elsewhere. Okay, all the other black wires work except for that one. So there must have been something that went on with that. All right, and I kind of don't want to hack into the harness to find out what's wrong with it. So. Hayes Mega should have bought a brand new one, but hey, for 60 bucks, how can I complain? It's like literally a third of the price. All right, and then the next thing we'll have to do is figure out what we're gonna do with the headlight. All right. I think I'm just gonna have a high beam, low beam. I'm not gonna use the running light, man. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. It just makes it more complicated, man. So anyway, so problem solved. All right. I just have to implement it. All right. We're just gonna chop this off of this harness and then splice it into here, okay? And then I don't know what we're gonna do with this. This is a 12 volts. This is not a freaking brake switch, man. And then yeah, we'll see what we can do about this brake switch. Well, you know what we can do is I can take it off and I can attach it to the rear brake switch and see if that works. So yeah, let me do that real quick because I don't think it'll reach. Okay, so I plug the brake switch into the rear brake switch. All right, and let's give it a go. Oh, it works. There we go. Woohoo! All right, so now all I have to do is run. I don't know why it doesn't work. I don't know what's up with that red and black wire, but that's a 12 volts right there, guys. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to run I'm gonna splice we'll splice into this. All right. And then, yeah, well, maybe I could figure out where it is on the. It's here somewhere. It's this one. Yeah, it's this one right here. I don't know. I don't know where to splice into it, but we'll splice into it, Or maybe I can make a pass-through cable, some sort. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I mean, this isn't going to reach there anyway. So, yeah, what I can do is just splice into this. So what I'll do is we'll just make this 2 connectors. That, or I can make a splitter for this. Is what I can do. Can you do that? You know what? These are only really designed for 1 wire, man. So I think it's better to. I'm just gonna splice one into there. Okay, so we'll splice another connector into here, and then we'll run. I will make another. I'll make like another like an intermediate. I know this is so many freaking connectors, man. I don't like it. But it kind of, if I want my brakes to work, then yeah, that's how. But yeah, I kind of need the front brake. Honestly, I don't really use the rear brake all that much, especially since I had the regen throttle. So, but yeah, I got it to work. That's good. So the mystery is solved, guys. All right, this is a 12-volt output. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this. Maybe I'm just gonna put another end of the plug in there and then just leave it, just in case I need it for something in the front of the bike. All right, guys. Well, you know what we could do? We could use this for the headlight. But I'd have to make a new connector. Yeah, because there's just 12 volts power coming out of here, so maybe we can just run the... Well, I'm just going to run a separate circuit for the headlight. So, alright, so the tail light and all that stuff will run off of one circuit, and then we'll have the headlights on another circuit. So, I'd rather just have it all the same. I know, right? We could just use this. I could use this to power the headlight. What I could do is just cut this and then add a bullet connector to it, because we kind of need to add a bullet to it. We'll add a bullet to it, and then we connect the black wire. Yeah, you connect the black wire to this red wire, right here, and it's already close too. That's going to go into here, and then these two go to the headlight, and then that's it. So it's pretty simple, and I only have to make one connector for the harness, so. And then we could use the other wires for other stuff. Okay, and then later we can probably get a horn. All right, but there's no horn right now, so I'll have to find a horn. I may have the horn from the gas engine, so I'll look for that. Okay, so yeah, so. There's a lot of work still left to be done, guys, but I figured out the problem. We just need to fix it, all right, guys? So yeah, we can use this for the headlight. That's what I'll do. This will go to the headlight, all right? So this is the 12 volts right here. I kind of want to... I know that's a 12 volts, and I know that's a ground. Yeah, because this is the ground. This is the black that we're going to use for this. So that's what's going to happen, guys. We're going to connect this to this, all right? Yeah, I know it's going to be it's a spaghetti of stuff, man. And then we're going to connect this, the red. Yeah, we're going to connect the red here. Or yeah, what I can do is make a bullet connector. We can connect the. Oh, we don't. Do we have to? No. Yeah, because so we need a bullet connector because we need to have a negative go to here too. So we need the ground for this one. So. All right, and then, so to get this thing all running, all right, we're going to splice this wire into this wire, all right, and then I guess we're going to make a, yeah, what I might do is make another connector, plug it into this, and then the positive, well, there'll be bullet connectors. There'll be a bullet connector going here. All right, and then this will go to the headlight, and then there'll be a bullet coming off of this. All right, so but that's the headlight. All right, so I've kind of figured out all the lighting stuff. All right, guys, and then yeah, we got to figure out how we're gonna mount these. That's another thing. And then yeah, we have to make I have to make another connector for this. All right, so we'll make another connector, and then we'll run a wire going up the right side to the handbrake, and we'll just have the same connector. So I will splice another one of these into here. Okay, and then we should be good. There's plenty of extra wire too, so I could probably strip this back a little bit and then thing it. Okay, so yeah, I don't like doing all this splicing and stuff, guys, but that's how it is. I don't know why there's no other brake thing. And yeah, so I think the switches will work together. They should be able to work together. All right, I think you can work both of them too if you wanted. Basically, all it does is it completes the circuit. All right, so one way or another, it'll do it. Okay, all right. So that's what's the deal. All right, I'll try to finish that tonight, man. But I'm gonna have lunch right now. Okay, so I've solved the problems. There's something funky going on with this harness. All right, it doesn't work as advertised. All right, so yeah. All right, so that's a scoop. All right, thanks for watching. Hazy Meg out. Alright, Haze Mega here. It's late in the evening and I just finished the brake switches and I finished the blinkers. Okay, so yeah, so you saw the pictures, all the work I did. Alright, I'm not going to go too much into detail with it. Alright, but like I said, I moved this, alright, to this, alright, this 12 volt here. And then, and yeah, so it's powered right now. So all the blinkers work now. You can see. Okay. Right blinker. Okay. Yep. Okay. Blinkers all off. And then the brakes work now. All right. So here's the but basically what I did is I extended the wire, all right, coming from the brake sensor. All right, so I just made it longer. I got a longer piece of wire on this. I know it took. Haze Mega has been at it for hours just soldering stuff. Okay, but yeah, there it is. Okay, so the rear one is right here. Okay, that's the rear one. I added this onto the harness right here. All right, and I got it just the right length where there's just a little bit at play. All right, and it's kind of where I want the connector to be. All right, sorry, solder it's in the way. And then yeah, there's this one. All right, this one goes in here. All right, this goes to the brake switch, and it connects right here. Okay, that's to the original harness for the Tusk dealie. All right, I might zip tie it to something. All right, maybe zip tie it to the frame, or maybe I zip tie it right here. That's what I can do. Yeah, we'll zip tie it to the subframe, I guess. A little bit. All right, so now if I step on the brake, the foot brake, all right, okay, and then I step on, I grab the handbrake, okay, yep, okay, and if I hold both of them, it just stays on. Okay, I'm gonna let go of this. Should still stay on. All right, and I'm gonna let go of the foot brake right now. Boom. All right. Haha! I did it. All right. Yes, it's like a normal motorcycle, guys. all that work just to do, just to have street legal lighting. Okay, and then this thing is bright, dude. It's awesome. Okay, so we're done with that. I just I'll add a zip tie to that thing right there, and then yeah, we got to start tucking all the wires back there. So we're done with the signals. We're done with the brakes. All right, all of them work. Yeah, we gotta mount the signal thingies. All right, or maybe I gotta buy different ones. I don't know, but everything works now. All right, and then the last thing we gotta do is get the headlight working. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do next after I eat dinner. Okay,